in addition to that, the wiretap prohibitions do not apply to communications that were sent to one party. So in other words, if there's a one-party consent rule, if the party is the receiver, one, they really can't be the interceptor. They didn't intercept anything illegally. And if they're recording it and then later disclose it, they have the right to do that. It doesn't require two parties to consent to recording and then later disclosure. If that communication goes from Mr. A to Mrs. B, Mrs. B has the right to record that and then later use it. It's not intercepted illegally or being used in a way that's not permitted that would gain advantage, because that communication was made from Mr. A to Mrs. B. Some states require two parties to consent, and that can be a situation that you need to be aware of depending on what state you're in. But the fact of the matter is Texas doesn't recognize two-party consent, and more importantly, Texas doesn't protect. There is no spousal exception for one spouse intercepting the communications of another. So there's no protection on that. There's no prohibition. That will all fall within the illegally obtained evidence. It can be barred, and more importantly, that can open that spouse up to some legal penalties. So again, the three most common areas for recording and illegal interception of messages that are sent either through cellular data or across the wire, through the internet or any other wired communications, are politics, industrial espionage, and family law. And family law is the least distasteful and serves the least good, because it truly is a scenario where the courts are going to be analyzing things as, why are these parents using recording devices, especially with the prevalence of recording devices. We all carry cameras on our phones now, with few exceptions, and we have the most state-of-the-art recording devices on us at all times. So the prevalence of recording has definitely given a lot of pause to the courts as to the introduction of illegally recorded evidence and why it's being used and why it's being recorded and captured in the first place. And more often than not, the courts are going to look at this in a light that gives protection to those who have had their communications or other things recorded illegally, because it's not being used in good faith.